we have Carlson, we have Caruana, we have Hansen. Okay, the games are about to begin. So Arjan Tare against Hansen. Arjan started his game with an English opening. So let's get started. Good luck to Montreal chessbrah. Here we have Eman Hambleton playing against Hammer. They already played like d4, knight f6, c4, e6. Aman opted for his favorite Rubinstein variation, and he went for the very popular knight g on e2 line. Okay, and here we go. The match of this round. Elias playing against Magnus Carlsen. Let me just take a look at these moves. d4, knight f6. Elias opted for the Queen's Gambit, Queen's Indian line with g3, and very, very annoying line with the Queen a4. For example, I had a chance to face this variation so many times. It's very tough to crack, speaking from Black's point of view, because definitely Carlsen is favorite in this game. After bishop e7, bishop g2, bishop e7, castles, all these moves are kind of theory, and Carlsen played queen c8. What is he looking for? He's looking for knight e4, bishop e4, and then he would like to put his queen and to line up his queen after bishop e4, queen e4 bishop e4 by queen b7. This is going to be the game we'll watch the most, and we'll just have to find the game that is ongoing by Caruana. Caruana is the... Let me just... Caruana playing against... I just have to apologize to this guy from Norway, so his name is Daniel. Caruana playing black pieces. He went for white went for the Alapin variation. Caruana played knight f6 and e5, knight d5, d4. All these moves are well known in theory. e6, very popular line. Okay, d6, bishop c4, knight b6. Yeah, this is one of the possibilities. Of course, white could have gone for bishop c4, bishop d3. Okay, he went for bishop c4, knight b6, bishop b3, d takes e5, d takes e5. He gave him chance to take by knight, so to let him go with an isolated pawn. D takes e5, queen d1, bishop d1, bishop d7. This is a good way to develop the light square bishop that is one of the weakest pieces in this strategy for black. And Caruana's idea is to place that bishop on c6 and afterwards to go with knight 8 to d7, weakening the pawn on e5, because the bishop on c6 will at some point threaten to hit the knight on f3 and to eventually win this pawn on e5. So after knight d7, rook to e1, knight c5. Now he's threatening to play knight d3 and to take the bishop pair. We'll get back to the game of Elias and Magnus Carlsen. For all of you who just joined, we're just following the game between Montreal chessbrahs and Norway knows Magnus Carlsen, current world champion. Elias playing white pieces. Okay, went for a queen a4. We already spoke about this variation earlier. Rook to d1, queen c8 in order to play knight e4. That's what Magnus did. Elias played queen c2, and Carlsen played d6 followed by knight d7. Elias tried to close the light square bishop and open the light square bishop and played the bishop g5. Okay, this could be... I'm not exactly sure about the power of the bishop g5 move. Maybe an interesting idea at this point could be some knight h4 followed by some knight f5 or ideas like this, and maybe even bringing the queen with f3 to the king side, g4 h5. And in case of knight h4, I'm just talking about this line, knight h4, bishop takes h4, g takes h4, followed by king h1 and rook g1, trying to use the open g file for the attack. So Carlsen played queen e8 at this point. Normal move. I just said at some point that I'll have to turn on the light, and I guess it's the time to do that. So let's go. Bishop g5, queen e8. Okay, I will keep following this game, but before that, let's just check the game of Eric Hansen, who's facing Arjan Thari, playing white pieces. They just played c4 English, c5, knight f3. This is interesting approach with c5, d4, and here black has two options, e6, e5. Actually, black has many options, but these are just the same. Eric is known as a guy who likes to play normal stuff in the openings, no gambits, so he just went for this knight e6 line. Bishop f4 idea is knight db5. Eric played d6, so knight db5 to be able to face with e5 and eventually to kick this knight away with some a6. And it's Arjan Thari's move. Okay, here we're just checking the game of Hambleton playing white against John Ludwig Hammer. a3, bishop f8, knight g3. This is one of the approaches in this position. Another thing is to go with this knight on f4, but usually it goes after black plays d5. d5, bishop e2, d takes, bishop takes, and Aman will most likely opt for playing with an IQP if c takes d4 to play with e takes d4. It's a little bit unusual. It's way easier to play with the IQP when you have your knight on f3. But okay, we'll talk about this. Caruana's game, we'll just have to take a look at that game, and Carlson's games as well. So we'll just see what's happening in those games. We're just waiting to see how is this going. Okay, Aman's variation, we don't have any updates there, so just give me a sec. I believe there are so many people at the same time right now on chess.com, so we'll have to do these updates from time to time, and I hope that everything is going to be okay. So this is Caruana's game. Caruana playing, just one sec. Okay, just be patient, please. So we'll have Caruana's game here. Yeah, we'll have Fabiano Caruana against this Daniel guy. E6. I'll just make these moves a little bit faster. Bishop to d1. Okay, we stopped here. Knight d7, and right now rook e1. Caruana threatened knight d3. That's where we stopped. Played long castle to be able to play knight d3 afterwards. Bishop g5. Rook went to d7. Okay, rook to d1. This is an interesting approach when you play against the second player in the world and you just keep exchanging pieces. Then Caruana played knight c4, occupying and putting all these pieces against the g7, against the e5 pawn. Sorry, b3, bishop b4, and here we go. Like you see, Caruana has a very strong strategy here. He created some structural weaknesses in white's position. a2 pawn is isolated, c4 as well, e5 was all the time weakness, and at the moment I believe Caruana can take now on e5. Can he take on e5 now? Knight e5, yes, exactly. He just won a pawn using tactics, and I believe Caruana's position is winning there. Okay, let's see Arjan Thari against Eric Hansen. We already spoke about this game. We stopped here. Tari took on c6, played bunch of more or less logical moves. e5, opening up the light square bishop, playing queen c7, and after rook to d1, played bishop e6. Probably at some point Eric would love to break in the center with some d5, but it's still very difficult as long as white possesses this bishop on g3. Rook b8, bishop f3, knight d7, and b3. It's slightly better game for white. Definitely Hansen might have some problems with this d6 pawn. So let's just go to Aman Hambleton and John Ludwig Hammer. We actually stopped this game at this moment. C takes, C takes. We spoke about this. This is a little bit unusual to play with the isolated pawn. Ludwig Hammer opted for flexible knights and typical control of the d5 square, which is like a good blocking square. Oh, bishop f6 and knight e4. Interesting approach by Aman. He actually decided to give up a bishop here. Probably he wants at some point to break with d5. And Magnus Carlsen playing black pieces against Elias. I'll just go back to this game. So bishop e7, castles, rook d1. We all had a chance to see all these moves, and this is where we stopped for the first time. So after like queen e8, bishop e7, b4, Elias wants to break at c5 with c5 at some point. Magnus opted for f5, queen e3, played knight e4, nice trick to take control of the light squares, knight b5, bishop a6, queen b3, and Carlsen decided to break these pawns and to make them weak like this. He's now doubling the pieces. All Carlsen has to do in this position is to trade off, to make sure to trade off these rooks, and afterwards he could easily go after these pawns. Rook c1, rook a1, taking on c1 and playing a rook to a7. Okay, so Elias has some problems with d5 and b5 pawns. Okay, we're not that surprised with that fact. On the other hand, Caruana won a pawn. I just have to go back to this game. We all saw this trick when Caruana played rook d8, white played bishop a3, and then Fabiana took on e5, threatening rook d1 checkmate. After rook e1, he took on f3, and this is terrible position for black, because with all these weak pawns in the endgame, this has to be dead lost, especially when you play against second player in the world. This is just a matter of technique, and this would be nice, but we just have other games to follow. So I just have to move a little bit faster. It's difficult. You have world champion, you have second player in the world, you have John Ludwig Hammer, 2700 almost GM, you have Eric Hansen. All these guys are so attractive to follow and to watch, so I don't even know whose game I should follow first. So rook to a5, and after this, okay, Caruana wants to go with his rook on h5, picking the pawn on h2. This is nice. This is nice. Okay, we'll now follow Caruana's game for a moment, then we'll go back to Carlsen's game. Okay, so Caruana is threatening rook to h5 to win the pawn on h2. This is nice. Okay, let's go back to the game of Carlsen. Carlsen exchanged these rooks, played rook to a7, queen c4, and played e4. What is he doing? He's actually disconnecting control of he's disconnecting control of the bishop and the knight, bishop and the queen. Speaking of the d5 pawn, and he now just wants to go with knight f6, queen e5, and win this pawn on d5. And this is good because, objectively speaking, Carlsen his way of playing. It would be interesting, maybe even maybe first to bring his king over and closer to the center, king f7, maybe some h5, h4. He can't move that rook from a7 still, so this would be interesting to see. We actually have two top leading world players playing technical part of the games here, so this would be very interesting to see how are they going to deal with these problems. Okay, king f8, exactly. I was talking about this. You know what will he try to do here? He will try to bring his king to the c7 pawn and to release this rook on a7. So probably he's trying to do that. f4. Double-edged move. Queen b2. Yeah, exactly. Now Carlson would like to play some rook a2 followed by knight g4, using the weaknesses of the dark squares in the black's game. Okay, h3 stops, but he can now even go with h5 and h4. H5 and h4, and if white takes on h4 to play knight h5 at some point. He can also play king f8, king e7. f4 was a really bad move. I believe it created so many weaknesses in white's position. Carlson played knight h5. If king h2, would be interested to see how is he going to break this defense. You know what? He probably on king h2 can play rook a2, queen c7, queen e2. And if check, this king can always run away to the h6, if nothing else. But would be interesting to see. Magnus is certainly known as absolutely the best and the most precise chess player in the world, probably of all times. They did some research, I remember, and they said that most of his moves he played just like the top world engines. So this will be very interesting. I don't see anything else here for Elias. Yeah, that's why I said f4 was such a bad move and reaction by Elias, because he created so many weaknesses. He already had the double pawns on b4 and b5. Pawn on d5 was kind of isolated, especially when Magnus played e5, e4, cutting off connectivity between the light square bishop and the d5 pawn. And this is interesting. We'll come back to this game. Let me just check the game of Caruana. Caruana played rook to a5. That's where we stopped, threatening this rook h5 move and going against the h2 pawn. After king f1, oops, it's my fault, I apologize. After king f1, rook h5, king g2, rook h4. This is nice. Have you ever heard of the principle of two weaknesses? Actually, unfortunately for white has much more than two weaknesses in this game, but this is a nice way to put your rook on h4, and from h4 to actually hit both of these weaknesses at the same time. After f5, he's now threatening to play f4. f4 kinda closing his rook, but okay, he's gonna play g5 now. Bishop d8 to stop the rook b6, and he will certainly play g5 next move. White has to react. If he doesn't react, black will play bishop c7, winning the pawn eventually on f4. So g5 has to be the move, exactly. g5, and now what is he threatening? He's threatening to play bishop c7. Bishop on c7 will do a good job. Oh, this is bad. Yeah, bishop c7, and now Caruana is dead winning here, so we're just waiting for this guy to resign. This is easy technical position. At the same time, we'll come back to Eric's game against Tari and Aman's game against Hammer. So bishop c7, focusing on the f4 weakness. White cannot defend this one. Actually, he can do the rook d4, but if rook d4, bishop f4, rook f4, he's gonna force the pawn endgame, and that is going to be a dead winning for black. Maybe he can even play first a5, a4, a3, and then to force this bishop f4 idea. He doesn't have to take on f4 immediately because his king is anyways too weak, or e5. e5 was also pretty correct. Not pretty, actually, this is the most precise, and black is winning right now. e5, this is completely winning. This is completely winning. So I guess Caruana just won the first game for the Montreal chessbrahs. Okay, so we'll take a look at this game until its end, but I believe it came to an end almost. Oh, nice combination with check. So the first result today, Fabiano Caruana won, and this is a good thing for the Montreal chessbrah. Caruana won the first game, so this is nice. Let's immediately move to Carlson's game. Caruana made a nice, Magnus Carlsen won, and we'll now have to take a look at this game very slowly. So this is where we stopped, Queen e5, and we all commented about how f4 should be bad move here because created so many weaknesses in white's position in the dark squares. h3, and Carlson, when Carlson played this, he played Queen a3. Ah, that was the move. I kept talking about some rookie. I completely missed this one. Queen g3, winning the pawn, winning here, coming up with check, and Elias resigned. Ooh, nice. Knight h5 followed by Queen a3. That just shows how strong is Magnus Carlsen. Okay, Eric Hansen against Aryan Thari. We stopped at b3. Eric played bishop f8. Eric is always good when it comes to maneuvering. And I believe in comparison... Oh, this is a nice exchange sack by Eric Hansen. Montreal chessbrahs were famous for players who constantly in this rapid games, 15 minutes plus 2 seconds in this Pro League, sacrifice and exchanges. This is nice. This is nice. So I like Eric's position all of a sudden. I like this exchange sack on a4 because somehow I can see so many weaknesses in white's position. I'm talking about the c4, a4, and a2 weaknesses. Okay, we'll follow this. We'll keep following this game. So once again, I'll just have to say that Elias lost to Magnus Carlsen. Okay, master. I mean, it happens. Don't worry. Okay, so Fabiano Caruana won his first game. Magnus Carlsen won his first game. So, okay, these are expected results, especially in the first round. Bishop f2. Thari played bishop f2. He's eyeing the knight on c5, but I don't see any problems for Hansen to take on a4 right now. I don't see any problems. I like Eric's position. A very nice exchange sack by Hansen. Once again, that was position. Probably Eric wanted to stop some, not probably, he wanted to stop f4 by white. And when his opponent played f3, he came up with this very nice exchange sack, installed his knight on c5, and this is almost untouchable piece. Of course, he has to keep one rook on the board in order to control the back rank, in order to control the 7th rank. By the way, bishop f2, and it's Eric's turn in this position. We'll see. Okay. So let's take a look at, I don't know why is Eric taking so much. He played knight d7. I didn't see any concrete threat for white if he took on a4. Probably, maybe queen b3. And in that case, knight c5 to take on c5 and to reach the b6 square. Maybe that's why he didn't play this one. Queen b3 once again. I guess he wants to oppose this queen with the rook b8. And when the white queens moves from the b file, he's going to put his rook back to a8. I believe that's what Eric is going to do here. So once again, we just had a chance to see how Magnus Carlsen played. He played his first game. He won. And another game Fabiano Caruana won as well on the first board. So current result is even 1-1. Of course, first player in the world won. Current world champion Carlson beat Elias. Elias, I hope you enjoyed that game. Okay. Okay. For some reason, just a moment. Actually, I've got some problems with my score. So Caruana is 1, Elias lost. The current result is 1-1. Okay, we'll just have to go back to the game of Aman Hambleton. This was Eric's game. So this is Aman's game, and Aman is slightly worse in this position since his opponent has not only control of the c file but a bit more active king, and also he's got problems. You know, bishop is usually better than knight when the game is open and when the pawns are on both sides. That's like a general rule. But on the other hand, you just have to keep in mind that he's got an isolated pawn that could present a serious weakness afterwards. Ideally, black would like to reach the d5 square by king. So we'll see what's gonna happen there. Aman is, as usual, are running out of time. King g2. Maybe king f1 was a bit more accurate, because by g2 and f3 he won't be able to activate that king too much. Okay, rook e8. Hammer played rook e8, cutting off the e file. This is nice for black because he's got a possession of open c and e files, and this is a good, actually very good thing for all of you guys who just watch these games to learn. When it comes to technical part of your games, you should always put your rooks on the open files. Rooks in endgames, they belong to open files. Okay, g4 was played by Hammer. And by the way, don't forget, once again, we're in the first round of the Pro League match between Montreal chessbrah and Norway Gnomes. First board for Norway Gnomes, current world champion, Norway star Magnus Carlson, and of course our first board second player in the world, Fabiano Caruana, current United States champion. Okay, Aman is down like 4 minutes, but okay, it's nothing new, don't have to worry. He's gonna be able to deal with this position. On the other hand, Eric is also having some problems in his game as well. Speaking of time, Tari is also up like 2.5 minutes in comparison to Hansen. Rook e4 by John Ludwig Hammer. We'll keep following this game. Okay, Aman did a good thing. He sacked a pawn to be able to reactivate his PC somehow. Rook d5, probably eyeing the pawn on f5 and going against this weakness. And don't forget, this is the debut of World 2 leading chess stars, Magnus Carlsen and Fabiano Caruana. They're both leading their teams in today's match of the Atlantic Division. So, by the way, don't forget, I already told you that these Norway guys, they have to win this match because they already played like 4 matches, two wins and 2 losses. Okay, we just have to say that Carlson didn't play those 4 matches, so this is his first appearance and against our team. Okay, Aman is holding this endgame pretty nicely. Let's take a look at more interesting game Eric played. Let me just take a look at the game. This was the moment Eric played queen d8. Now he found a way to reactivate his pieces. Okay, and this is position at the moment. Eric goes with some tactics. Objectively speaking, Eric is worse in this position. He made some complications, and definitely Eric is one of the leading blitz players. So even if he's down like 1.5 minutes on time, it's not a big problem. Okay, objectively speaking, Eric is lost here, but he still has like great tactical chances. This is almost bullet game. He's down. Okay, he's running out of time. What if rook takes d6? I don't see what did he play. Probably some bishop f8 followed by bishop c5. Yeah, rook takes d6, probably bishop f8 here. Queen e4. But now he can play bishop d4. I don't like this move. I don't like this move because if he plays bishop d4, then Eric will have to trade off queens. He'll have like the bishop pair. Yeah, bishop d4. And now it's not even good. I don't like Eric's position now. Because he still has some chances to save this one, but with more pieces on the board, he had like better chances in this game. But let's hope this guy is going to lose his nerves and maybe even take on e6 here, giving him at least some chances in this pretty lost endgame. So rook a6, rook b8. Okay, Eric should probably go down the rook on the second rank, rook b2, and play bishop b4, bishop d2, bishop e3, something like that. Yeah, rook b2, exactly. By the way, wait a sec. Right now he's threatening to play. Okay, probably he has to. Okay, rook d2. Maybe. Yeah, d3. I was looking at that move also, but how is he going to move his rook right now from d2? Because the d3 pawn is all the time hanging. Rook e2. Oh, Eric wants to come up with the great tactics. If he captures, he's going to recapture. He's going to recapture, promote, and then eventually give him check and win this. This is nice trick. I like it. I wish this guy had less time. That would be very, very nice trick to go with. Wow. Amazing tactics. Amazing. King g7. Yes. Eric is actually turning this game upside down. I can't believe what he did that with that rook e2. That was such an insane move. Wow. Okay, so rook takes a2. Now all he has to do is to somehow make sure to win this a6 pawn, and he'll be able to win this game. I have no information about Aman's game, but let's take a look at this one. Wow, what a fantastic combination with rook e2. Okay, now he takes even the a7 pawn. Can he keep the rook? If he keeps the rook, he still has chances to win. So bishop a7, okay. White is not, maybe king e7. Okay, he played that one, and rook. Oh, okay, he now opted for this one. Maybe he had like better chances if he kept the rooks on board. We had something similar in Carlson's game against Karyakin in World Championship match. But what a move! I once again have to say, I can't stop yelling, but that was such a fantastic move. Okay. One thing for sure, Eric is not going to lose this game for sure. If he's got a chance, he's gonna win this game for sure. But most likely this is going to be a draw. Most likely. Okay, what is he doing now? He's now playing fast moves, and he's adding the time on the clock so he can figure out something afterwards. Okay, Terry offered a draw. Eric is playing on a win. But will be very difficult still. I don't see a clear plan for him to go here and to win this game. because white should just keep pieces the way they are right now. Okay. Okay, he cut it off the king. Maybe some bishop f3 here. Why that one? Because he had rook e4. Okay, he can't take on g4 because of rook e4 by white. Another check. Okay, he wants to... All he needs to do is to somehow disconnect this king from these pawns. Bishop c7 here and bishop e6. Yeah, and now play bishop d6. Or, okay, to be able to play... all he has to do is to somehow bring this bishop to e7 and to eye this pawn on g5. Then to cover the king on g6 by bishop on f5. Will he be able to win this? Okay, he wants to play king g6. If he plays king g6, he'll be able to play this game on a win. Okay, I spoke about bringing this bishop to e7, but now it makes no sense because of bishop... Okay, rook, if bishop e7, rook g8. Rook g8, king h7, rook e8, I guess. Rook e8, exactly. Now he has to move his bishop somewhere. Threatening g6 here. Eric, of course, is not going to blunder that move. Now white was threatening rook e5. One thing is very important to notice, because these guys are very tricky. Even though Eric was the one who was playing this position on win, I don't think he'll be able to win this position. But okay, that was fantastic comeback. That was absolutely insane tactics. Absolutely. I mean, rook e2 winning that was fantastic. This is so close to be called to be a dead draw. He wants to play bishop. Like I said, the only plan I see here is to play bishop. No, he can't play bishop e7. He's gonna play some bishop c5 or bishop b4. Okay, this is going to be draw. I like this. I like this first round. These games were very, very intense. What is he trying to do? I guess. Wow. No way that he can go and he can win this. Maybe king f5 now, finally. Maybe king f5. King f5. Can he do that? But then he's going to move the king away. Maybe some g4 now. But it is also going to mean that white is going to push here. Bishop c4 maybe. He wins a pawn. g6 is... Oh, maybe Aryan Tari just blundered. He probably thought he had g6, h takes, rook takes g6, but then bishop f7. What a comeback by Hansen in this game. Will he be able to win this? That's... Okay, all he has to do now is to solidify himself with some bishop f5, bishop g6, and then... Okay, now this is gonna be a draw. Now this is gonna be a draw. Hansen offered a draw, and what a game! He almost managed to win this one. Congratulations. That was a great fight. On the other hand, Aman Hambleton lost this game. I'll just show you because we stopped this game at this point. We all knew that he was doing worse in this endgame, but he actually created some fortress here. Okay, f3, and this was clearly up a pawn for black in this endgame. Hammer played this one. This was nice. This was nice. He using tactics, he won this endgame because after this he won a second pawn, and now this was just a matter of technique. Okay, like you see, these guys, when they have winning chances, they never miss that. They never miss that. So this was pretty convincing win by black out of the endgame. But okay, Aman still had to blunder to lose this game. So Eric Hansen. Let me just put these things. Caruana won. Hansen made a draw. I still experience some problems with these results. And eventually Hambleton, he just lost his first game. Okay, we have the results of the first round. Fabiano Caruana won. Eric Hansen drew after such a fantastic battle against Arjan Thari. Hambleton lost to John Ludwig Hammer, and Elias lost. Okay, we still have to say that it was like pretty much expected. I mean, after the first round, it's not a, because Magnus Carlsen beat Elias. Nobody expected that Elias could surprise Carlsen, but he actually put up a good fight. He was white. Carlsen played positionally nicely there, but eventually Elias lost, especially after he played that F4 move, because he created some weaknesses in the dark squares, which eventually costed his game. What a great comeback by Hansen. I once again have to say that was one of the most insane defenses in today's round. So probably hero of this round was Hansen, who got completely lost, and eventually he almost got a winning position in the endgame. I just once again have to show the game played by Magnus Carlsen and Elias. We just have like few minutes until the second round begins. This was nice. So castles, rook d1, queen c8. It's an interesting plan. I enjoy this game very much, and this plan by Carlsen, because, for example, this is finally something where black doesn't have to play c5, reduce so much material, and play an equal game like in the main lines. Elias played queen c2. Carlsen took. I was talking about bishop e4 by black, but Carlsen had something else in his mind. Certainly way better than I want to propose. So after bishop g5, queen e8, bishop takes e7, queen takes e7, and this was the okay. Let's go. I just got an update by somebody who told me that the games have started, so we just have to go very fast. Fabiano Caruana against Arjan Thari. Caruana playing white. So let's go. Caruana with white pieces, especially against Carlson. I remember I taught all my students to play with white pieces against Carlson like this. He's definitely the best player in the world, speaking of this system with white. Okay, knight b5, installing his knight on d4. This reminds me of some French defenses. French improved for black because the light square bishop is out. Rook g6, rook c1. Knight came to d7. Okay. Okay, knight d7, attacking the e5 pawn. Caruana took there and played c4. Now he's taking advantage of the queen being misplaced on q7 and being under the attack by this rook on c1. Magnus Carlsen against Aman Hambleton. This is probably a unique chance for Aman to face the best player in the world. Bishop g5, h6. Carlsen went for the Tory attack. I usually say just having a joke, but saying I understand everything, but I don't understand why do people call this variation Tory attack, because it's anything, it's just not the attack for white. Anyways, bishop d3, c3, bishop e7. Oh, Aman is exchanging the light square bishops. Carlsen played knight d2, and this will be very interesting. What will be the plan by Magnus Carlsen in this position? What will be the plan? By the way, at the in the fourth round, we'll see a real clash. Magnus Carlsen, world champion, will face Fabiano Caruana, who's the second player in the world. Actually, at the moment, I believe third after Wesley Saw's all these fantastic 52 games being undefeated in a row. Okay, so Queen E2. Queen E2. I'm just interested to see, will Carlson play E4, getting the center this way, or maybe he's going to play some F4. But why would he play F4 in that position? Probably some, maybe F4, Bishop E4, and then to use some rook lifting on the king side and to launch the attack. Okay, we just have to start other games as well. So Caruana playing against Ariantari, Magnus Carlsen playing against Aman Hambleton. Those are some nice pairings, and we now just have to find the game between Elias and John Ludwig Hammer. Hammer started with D4. Elias tried to play French. He went for Benoni, but now he played D3. They go into some sort of mix between. Okay, actually, this is not a mix. This is now, if at any point he plays C takes D4, this is going to be, at this moment, pan of attack if black takes on D4. But that didn't happen. Ludwig Hammer went for this C takes D5, Bishop E5, which was seen a couple of times in a games played by Anatoly Karpov with the white pieces. Of course, the idea by white is to keep trading off pieces because it's good since he takes on C5 and creates an isolated pawn on D5. Exchanging old, okay, and now he's just putting his main focus on D5, and this is getting bad. This is getting bad. Elias lost his pawn, and looks like Ludwig Hammer already won not just a pawn, but he now has to take. How is he going to take by a rook? Probably, okay, at the moment he threatens to take by a rook, but probably Elias has to play queen c6 or something like this. Okay, his words there. Let's go back to the game between Carlson and Hambleton. It's Carlson's move. Okay, we shouldn't expect anything that special by Magnus Carlsen out of the openings. That's not his style of play. He's just playing normal stuff where he's got like normal positions, and then he just tries to outplay his opponents in middle games, and of course, as absolutely probably best chess player of all times, it's not a problem for him to do that. So let's see. He played rook f to d1. Probably we now just want to see how is Aman going to develop this knight. Will he play knight c6 or put that knight on d7 and eventually go on f6? This is interesting. So rook f to d1, which implies that he either wants to push the a pawn with a4 and a5, or maybe he just wants to play rook ac1. Okay, it depends on the concrete circumstances in the game. So, for example, if Aman now takes on d4, will Carlsen take by e or by c? Most likely by e, and then his rook from d1 should go to e1. In case of this, we just want to see what kind of idea he had in his mind. To be honest, this is beyond my understanding when he played rook f to d1. Okay, e4. Okay, c takes. Probably Carlsen. Okay, Aman should not play d5 because it would close the light square bishop. If he plays e5, then Carlsen's rook on d1 is going to pay off, and it's gonna have its point in that position. Okay, we just have to check the game. We just have to check one more game. Let me just find the Eric Hansen's game. Eric Hansen playing white pieces. Okay, we'll go back to this game. Eric is so strong with white pieces. On the other hand, don't forget, Eric so far making 4.5 out of 5. Eric went for the elephant. Not for the elephant, sorry. He played knight f3, d6, c3, and bishop e2. This is very solid system, very tricky. Black cannot take on e4 because if you take on e4, then just queen a4 check and this knight is gone. Bishop d7, d3, bishop c6, castle. Okay, this is normal system, and now d4 and d5. Eric went for this trick, and like you see, Eric won a piece very nicely. This is a basic tactical trick, and the guy just put his queen on a cramped place. So queen c7, Eric did a nice tricky move d5 and won the piece. Let's just take a look at a couple more moves, but we won't talk about, and we won't get back to this game too much because we have other games ongoing, and Eric is up a piece and he should be completely winning. Okay, we're now once again back to Ludwig Hammer playing white pieces against Elias. So just like I said, Elias played this variation. I don't like it too much because he created an isolated pawn, and white just keeps exchanging pieces. After rook to d1, he won a pawn, e4, and played bishop g5. What a nice move. What a nice move. So he's not greedy. He doesn't want to take immediately on d5, but he actually decides when is he going to take on d5 and how is he going to take on d5 in this position. Okay, by the way, for all of you who just joined, we have unique chance on the chessbrah channel to watch the best player maybe of all times, Magnus Carlsen, leading the Norway nose on the first board, and on the other hand we have Fabiano Caruana, that's his debut for our chessbrah theme, playing the first board, and Caruana won the first game. We'll go back to his game as well. So let me just take a look. Bishop g5, Magnus Carlsen against Aman. Queen e2, d6, rook f2, d1, knight d7, e4, c takes, rook c8, and f3 plays Carlsen. d5, queen b4. I don't like this idea by Aman to play d5. I spoke about that during the previous analysis of this game, because when he plays d5, he just made this light square bishop being so bad. He just made this light square bishop being so bad, and after queen b4, knight b3, now Carlsen will try to squeeze him out and to take advantage of this. In the end game. Okay, so yeah, I'm not a big fan of moves like d5. This is interesting. This is interesting. Carlsen will try to play this. Carlsen will try to squeeze him out in the end game. Objectively speaking, this is maybe just slightly better for white, and mainly due to the bishop and b7 that is kind of weak. Okay, let's take a look what's gonna happen there. So, and you know what, when you play against Carlsen, whatever he does, you're just trying to check all those possibilities for a couple of times. Even if Carlsen plays queen d2, even if it's objectively maybe not the best move, you just have to fully believe him and to say, okay, should I go into the end game and play this end game or not? So this is the difficulty, psychological difficulty when you play against the best guys. Knight b8, I like, but don't forget, I keep bragging Aman and his play with the knights. Okay, so he played knight b8, knight c6. He's finding a nice researched. Oh, Carlsen also does a great job. He wants to move his knight to c3 and b5 eventually. So both of these guys find a great ways to improve their knights. Aman is probably now thinking between knight c6 or maybe bishop a6 to trade off the light square bishops, his weakest piece in this position. Aman's game is very, very solid. So far, so good, master. Let's go. In the meantime, let's check the game between Caruana. We stopped at this point when he played c4. Tari played queen b7. Caruana captured, played bishop b5, threatening bishop c6. And after rook d8, queen e2, threatening here and here. Knight b8, holding a6 and c6 at the same time. g3, h4. Now he wants to chase away this bishop. This is the best strategy, and usually you'll actually find that in many books, to play on both sides of the board. So bishop e3, rook c1, rook c1, rook c8. You know what? Caruana is slightly better just thanks to one thing. He's got a pawn majority 2 against 1 on the queen side. At the same time, knight on d4 is doing a great job blocking the pawn on d5, because the same thing we can say for black, that he's got a pawn majority on the queen side. So bishop b7, and yes, you see now he's actually going to try to take the pawn majority now, to play probably some a4, b5, and whatever. But okay, technically this should be a better position for it. Probably Caruana is thinking about some knight c6, not knight c6. How can, maybe f3, king f2, king e1, king d2. So to play like this, he needs to find way to activate his king. Okay, knight b3, going with knight c5, eyeing this pawn. Okay, so he was threatening knight c5, that's why black played knight d7. But wait a sec, can now black play bishop c6? Not bishop c6, bishop, it wouldn't work because of knight b8. f4, so he's defending this pawn, and he now wants to go to d2. At the same time, he's defending the pawn on e5 and goes after this bishop. Would be very interesting. Okay, black is not threatening, even though Tari played bishop c4. He's not threatening to take on c4 because a6 pawn would be left permanently weak. So no, this one doesn't work. King f2, of course. Bishop c4 is pretty much empty move by black. Probably king e7. Black is pretty much cramped, and he's in some sort of zugzwang in this position. Black bishop on d8 ideally took the d8 square, controlling a5. Knight on d7 controlling c5. Bishop on c4 defending a6 pawn. King on f8 can just come to e7, but nothing more than that. So I believe that this should be a much better, assigned as much better game for white. Probably bringing the king to c3. And when he brings this king to c3, to somehow try to play a4 and to create that pawn, or just to release finally the knight on b3 or the pawn on the a file. Okay, we'll go back to Hansen's game. Eric won. Congratulations, Eric. Eric won. Okay, we all expected that as soon as we saw this d5 trick. Once again, Eric came up with the d5 trick, and now these two pieces were hanging. So after rook takes e7, let's just take a look at the end of the game. I'm just going a bit faster because 3 games are ongoing. Bishop d2, rook c1, knight g3. Okay, he was up a piece in this game, and that's why I'm moving a little bit faster. He sacked a piece back. Oh, what a nice combination by Hansen. Oh, what a nice end of this game. He didn't just he didn't just bring the piece back on d2, but he even sacrificed the rook on g7 to come up with checkmate. Nice end of the game. I'm coming back to Caruana's game. He's trying to use this pawn majority. So after king e7 played knight d4 and a4. We'll get back to this game. Oh, this is what he does all the time. He's playing on both sides, just like Li Chao in his game. So he's playing on both sides. Okay, let's get back to game between Elias and his opponent. Elias is putting up some good fight here. This is how they played. Bishop g5, rook e8, rook takes d5, and Elias is down a pawn. Okay, so he's trying to hold this position, but definitely white is better. And Carlson against Hambleton. A few weeks ago, you wouldn't believe if I mentioned Carlson against Hambleton, but yeah, this is actually reality. Magnus Carlsen is facing chessbrah theme today. So after like bishop a6, rook c4, oh my god, I even like Hambleton's position so much. He's maneuvering so nice. His position looks very, very promising. Very promising. Very promising. Okay, I like this knight b5, knight d6 plan by white. It controls by Carlson because after he played knight d6, wow. Wow. Wow, Aman is doing fantastic. Wait a sec. He's now after a3, threatens to play. If b3, he's gonna play knight takes e5. So b3 doesn't work because knight takes e5 and the rook is hanging. And the rook will be hanging on c1. So b3 doesn't work because of knight takes e5. And rook on c3 would be hanging. So this would be winning for black. Wow. Take on c4. Aman, keep up doing great, man. Wow, what a great maneuvering by Hambleton. I told you, that guy is a complete wizard with his knights. He's wizard with his knights. I've never seen a guy playing so good in these fast games with his knights. This is simply fantastic. Wow. And by the way, okay, it was a little bit ambitious play by Carlson out of the opening, but still, we now just have to see the material he's made of, and just to see why is he the world champion. I believe Carlson is gonna find something good here. Aman is doing fantastic against Carlson. Come on, man. Okay, you can do it. Let's see what's gonna do. Aman Hambleton against Magnus Carlsen. Just like I told you a few weeks ago, if I mentioned this, Hambleton against Carlsen, you would laugh. Actually, we would all laugh, but right now that's reality. So once again, b3 doesn't work because of knight takes c5, and since the rook on c3 is hanging, black can take this pawn. Wow. Wow. What's gonna happen there? So we're now just checking. Okay, Carlson took on c4. Yeah, I mentioned that before. But you know what? A man doesn't even have to take on c4. He can now take on, for example, b2. But then rook d3, rook b3, and takes on c4. Take on, yeah. But now rook b3, I guess. Now rook, or rook b1. Okay, idea is the same. Idea should be the same. Rook c4, d takes c4, rook b2, rook c8, rook b6, c3. That should be winning for Carlson. So I played a bad line. Interesting line could be b5 here, to be able to capture by pawn on c4 and to give his passed pawn support by these c rooks. So this could be an interesting move. b5, exactly. He did it. Carlson will take on b2. Now pawn takes. Aman shouldn't lose this endgame. He shouldn't lose this endgame. This is nice. I mean, certainly position is about to be drawn. But let's see what's gonna happen there. Don't forget Hansen won. So I'll just have to say that Caruana is 1 out of 1. Eric Hansen is 1.5 out of 2. And why do I keep getting problems with this Caruana score? Okay, so Erik Hansen is 1.5 points out of 2 games. That's nice. Hamilton played g5. Okay, this is going to be draw. This is going to be draw. Aman is going to give up the pawn on c3 for taking the pawn back on a4. Fantastic. Even if something wrong happens in this game, we just have to congratulate him for holding Carlson so good with the black pieces. With the black pieces. Can you imagine this? Hamilton playing against Carlson with the black pieces. Okay. So Aman played g5, and you know what? If he holds Carlson and makes a draw, that would be fantastic result for the chessbrah team, because all of a sudden our chances are way better, since Carlson probably keeps counting on winning all these 3 games until he faces Caruana. And when he faces Caruana, anything can happen in one game. This is now dead raw. This is now dead raw. Will be interesting to see what is Carlson going to do in this position, and how is he going to try to win this. Playing g4, probably king g6, followed by h5 and then f6. Okay. He's so close to make his probably his definitely best chess result so far, and something that is going to probably... Wow, Carlson sacked the pawn. Carlson sacked the pawn to play this one. Are you... I mean, this still should be drawn. Still nothing special. This is equal. Aman is defending that. He actually doesn't have... Probably he was supposed to play first king g6 and h5 when I mentioned that. Okay. By the way, don't forget, you don't have to worry about Aman's beating down on time, because simply he's too fast, he's too experienced on this side, so it's not a problem. By the way, Carlson is up for 6 minutes in this position, but position is drawn. So let's see. He already made some improvement to try this to win, but rook on d2 cut off the king. And now he's just adding his time. King h7, exactly. Aha. Okay. Okay, I believe this should be... He has to keep the king not to go on f6 because of the rook h7. So Carlson is now trying to squeeze him out and to play on a win. For a moment, we're losing the... We just lost the moves. I believe something is happening with a site, and I just have to go back to the other games. The clock, the Aman's clock is not changing. So we actually have like all these games going except Erik's. Erik won his game. Erik won his game. Carlson against Aman Hamilton. It just stopped. It just stopped. It just stopped. I don't know what's happening there. It just stopped. This is so intense at the moment when we're just waiting for something to happen. It just stopped. Let me take a look what's happening there. Okay, so this is the end game. This is the end game. Carlson is up a pawn. Wow, king e6. If g5, this is gonna be a draw. Okay, king h3. King h4. Carlson is still trying to win this. g5 doesn't work. By the way, H or wing pawn cannot be winning for him. This is draw. Now it's draw. Now it's officially draw. Aman Hambleton managed to make a draw against world champion. Such a fantastic battle. Okay, that was nice. Probably because of so many viewers, the internet just crashed for a moment. And this is good. This is good. Amazing. Hambleton, you're awesome, man. This is such a fantastic result. We immediately have to go back to the other games. I just have to apologize for some problems that we had at some point. Aman Hambleton drew against Magnus Carlson. What a fantastic score. Let's just take a look at Fabiano Caruana playing against Aryan Thari. Caruana is trying to win this. Wow, he's not gonna be able to win this game. Aman managed to make... Oh, Caruana is gonna have problems. Okay, if king takes a... Oh, what a nice way to defend this one. But what if d3? d3 definitely trying to win this. Bishop f6, trying to keep the pieces on board. And now, bringing the bishop back to c3, I guess. Exactly. So bishop f4 doesn't work. The hero of, probably not the round, but Aman Hambleton just drew Magnus Carlsen. What a fantastic result. What a fantastic result. Okay, we're still getting the updates of the other games. Wow. Caruana, will he be able to make a draw in this position? Okay, if his knight gets closer to the pawn, that should be drawn in that case. Good. Okay, and I believe it's gonna be draw. So Caruana Aryan Thari, it's a draw. But still, I have to say once again, unreal, insane result by Aman Hambleton, who held Magnus Carlsen in previous game. Okay, so we still have a game ongoing between Hammer and Elias. Elias is putting up a good fight. Unfortunately, he lost that pawn in such an early stage of the game. He's lost here. He's lost here. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Don't forget, Eric Hansen won. So we just have the following results. Fabiano Caruana actually made 1.5 out of 2 games. Eric Hansen made 1.5 out of 2 games, and the hero of this round, Aman Hambleton, he drew against current world champion Magnus Carlsen. So basically we can conclude this round. Eric Hansen won, Elias lost, Caruana and Hambleton drew. So very, very intense match, and we have some real games ongoing. Caruana 1.5 out of 2, Hansen 1.5 out of 2, Hambleton half points out of 2 games, but what a draw and what a fight against Carlson. I believe this is the most outstanding result by Hambo in his chess career. And Elias unfortunately lost. Unfortunately, he lost that pawn, and eventually overall score is 3.5 to just a moment. First round they won 2.5 to 1.5, and this one it was 2-2. So it's 4.5 to 3.5. So it's very interesting. Overall score is 4.5 to 3.5, and I guess we won't wait too much until the game starts. So you just have to be patient. Wow, once again, I just have to mention that Aman Hambleton drew against Magnus Carlsen. What an outstanding score, what an outstanding result, and this is definitely his biggest accomplishment so far. Amazing result, and that's really, really good. Okay, so so far after 2 rounds, Norway gnomes are 4.5 out versus 3.5 to Montreal chessbrahs. Okay, but some games are coming. Don't forget, in the last round we'll see a real match between Caruana and Carlson. I believe that game can even decide the winner of this match. But still, an amazing result in the second round by Hamilton, playing black, making draw against Carlson. Such an awesome result. That's fantastic. Okay, so we're still waiting for the games to start. I guess there were so many people at some point watching the same game, and that's why the site or the games just crashed. So don't worry about that. Let's go. So far, the best players in our team: Caruana 1.5 out of 2, Hansen 1.5 out of 2. Good score, Hamilton half points out of 2 games, and Elias, he lost both games, but Elias just tried to hold his guys, and you're doing a good job. Okay, so next round, Eric Hansen against Magnus Carlsen. Eric, this is your chance, man. A man just made a good job. Actually, he hurted him, so now it's your job to finish Magnus Carlsen, current world champion, off. Well, let's see if it's gonna happen in the next game. We're still waiting for the games to begin. Okay, so we're still waiting. So Magnus Carlsen will play against Hansen. So I can't wait to see that match. But once again, congratulations to Aman Hamilton for putting up great fight and eventually making draw against Magnus Carlsen. And that was very interesting. Even in that position, Carlsen was constantly trying to win that game. Okay, we're still waiting for the games to begin. Still nothing. I'll just show you Caruana's endgame. That was Caruana was fighting so hard to win this game. He had a game on the king side. He had a pass pawn. I don't know how did he manage to put this bishop on being on a8, but probably after Ariantari did this bishop a7 and bishop e8, it was very hard to win this, and actually it was proven to be hard. Even he won the f7 pawn, it didn't help. He tried to remove the defender, but after knight c7, Tari was defending also great in this game against Caruana, and he now even locked this knight. The bishop is usually the best piece against the knight in such situations. Okay, we're still waiting for the games to begin. Don't forget, after 2 rounds, Norway Gnomes, led by world champion Magnus Carlsen. They're leading 4.5 to 3.5. Hero, the second round, Aman Hamilton, making draw against current world champion. Does it mean that Hamilton can become world champion as well? Okay, so like I said, in the next round will be very intense. Hansen will face Carlsen. Will be interesting to see if Eric Hansen will play white or black. That is interesting. And also will be very interesting to see. Okay, Caruana is going to face now also very strong Ludwig Hammer, who won both of his games. So this is going to be very important round, because if chessbrahs manage to do something in the next round, anything can happen. So let me just go there. Still trying to see if there are any recent updates on the game, on the games. Okay, Eric against Magnus. Yeah, we're waiting for that match, but I guess Aman Hamilton can't stop cheering up and actually being so satisfied with the draw. Okay, the third round is about to start. Okay, Magnus Carlsen against Eric Hansen. Magnus Carlsen playing white pieces against Eric. So let's see what's gonna happen there. Magnus Carlson goes for his favorite Ruy Lopez. Good luck, Eric. Just like we said, a man did its job. So he drew the first game. Now it's your time to finish him off. Okay, so Carlson played bishop b5. Ruy Lopez. Eric goes for both. Berlin knight f6, and he plays a6. Does he maybe? Does he have anything else up to his sleeve? We're about to see that. Let's see. Okay, he went for the a6. Bishop a4. We'll just see the opening here. Knight f6. Castles, bishop e7, and Carlson usually does this d3 move. Lately it became the most popular continuation by white. They don't want to go with the main theory with c3. They don't want to play the Marshall Gambit. They don't want to play all those forced lines with or without h3 for white, but they play d3, and the rest of the game Carlson will actually he's going to decide when is the time for pushing the d4 pawn. Eric can play knight d7, knight c5 here, bringing that knight eventually on e6 and holding the d4. But he can also play b5, kicking this bishop away. Or he can even play some bishop g4, but bishop g4 in such positions is not a good move, usually because of h3, g4, knight d2, knight f1, knight g3, eventually jumping with this knight on f5. We'll get back to this game. Let's now take a look at Caruana and Hammer. Hammer is white in this game, so would be interesting to see the opening, the most popular Queen's Gambit orthodox variation by white with bishop on f4. Everybody, literally everybody plays this move right now in the world with white pieces against d5. And he played c5, went for this. Caruana, I have a feeling that Caruana equalized pretty much easily this game with the black pieces, but okay. Okay, Hammer. Oh, I like this move, b5. If he captures, he'll be recapturing by a pawn, getting the open a file, which would be good for black. So he won't do that, probably bishop to b3, but if he does that, he will play some a5 and maybe creating a weakness on b4. I mean, it will be just important to have like some counter attack on that square at some point, but objectively speaking, this should be a rounded rod. Once again, I just want to update all the guys who haven't watched the stream so far. Man Hamilton just drew Magnus Carlsen, which was one of the most amazing results on this chessbrah channel so far, and we're all very proud of Aman and his outstanding performance in the previous round. Okay. So c takes b6, c takes b6. I mean a takes b6, sorry. We already spoke about this variation. Recapturing by c pawn, opening the a file, and getting some sort of counter attack and counter chances. Objectively speaking, this is draw. By the way, I mean this is equal position. By the way, don't forget he's now threatening to play bishop takes e6. I'm sure Caruana will see this, and Caruana will play either bishop d5 or queen d6 or queen e7. Depends on the circuit. Maybe even queen g5 doesn't work. So bishop e6 is threat by white. Okay, so this will be interesting. So far, Caruana 1.5 out of 2, Hansen 1.5 out of 2, Hamilton half out of 2 points, but draw against Magnus Carlsen, world champion, and Elias lost both games. Don't forget, after 2 rounds, Norway gnomes, they're just leading 4.5 to 3.5. Caruana playing black against Hammer playing white. At the moment, we're just checking this game. Queen d6, controlling the... Okay, rook f4, going up against this pawn. Probably bishop c6, exactly. This is just a normal game. Of course, that Caruana is not going to play f5, weakening the pawn on e6. We'll have to go back to Eric Hansen's game, but we'll now have to check the game of the hero of the previous round. So let me just find the games. So far, we haven't checked the games by our theme hero, Aman Hambleton. And by the way, this is Elias playing white against Aryan Tari. We'll check the opening. Elias, his opponent went for the Grunfeld, and Elias opted for this Kramnik's system with bishop e3, queen d2, followed by rook c1. Somebody asked me why rook c1, because white wants to play d5, so in that case c3 pawn would be well protected by this rook on c1. After rook d8, d5, this is the main line, bishop g5, f6. White has two options, bishop f4 or bishop e3. Both are equally good. Knight c6, this is one option. Another one is queen a4. Knight c6, bishop e2, knight e7. Okay, I like this position for white. Looks normal, looks equal. But okay, objectively speaking, the strength of these players basically lies in middle games and end games. And also that could be a problem. But okay, as far as I see, Elias managed to get an equal position so far. We just have to find the game of Aman Hambleton, and then we'll go back to Eric Hansen's game, because he's facing Magnus Carlsen. That's his unique chance to play against Magnus Carlsen. Aman playing white. Aman, his opponent went for Benoni. Aman played his h3, bishop d3 line. This at some point this was considered to be the best option against Benoni. I remember some Israeli GMs used to play this for black. Okay, position is slightly better for white. Maybe bishop a7 followed by bishop d4, but we'll get back to the game between Eric Hansen and Magnus Carlsen. At the moment when we stopped following the game, Eric played d6, b5. This was still theory. We spoke about this typical maneuvering with knight, more or less typical knight journey with knight d2, knight f1, and knight g3. Knight bd7, bishop e7, b3, g6, a4, bishop g7, and bishop d3. This reminds me on Breyer variation in Ray Lopez. Maybe they just started this opening as a Morphy defense and some Martinez variation in the Ray Lopez, but okay, right now, after he played this knight b8, knight bd7 maneuver, it very much reminds me on a Breyer's defense in the Ray Lopez. Eric has a good position so far. Carlson decided to go with e4 to be like more ambitious this game. I wish he played e4 against Aman to face Aman's great win-over defense with bishop b4, b6 that he plays with a great understanding and results lately, especially in this Pro League. But okay, we saw enough. Aman held that game, and he's proven that chessbrah players are made of steel. Okay, knight takes d4, threatening knight c6. Probably knight e5 right now to stop the knight c6, to stop the queen f3. By the way, Carlson has a very concrete threat here. So queen f3. Okay, knight d4. He played c5. Okay. Knight f6, rook e8, queen e8, nothing works. Knight c6, queen c7 or queen b6 should work fine for Eric as well. Probably queen c7 here, but if queen c7, maybe queen d6. Looks pretty crazy, but after queen d6, knight d6, then those two knights control everything. Maybe that one, maybe that's what he missed. Queen c7, queen d6. If queen b6, then it's a different story. He doesn't have queen d6 anymore. Maybe even queen d6 Queen c7, queen d6. I'm afraid of that move very much. Has Eric seen this move? So this is very interesting. This is very interesting. What is Carlson going to do here? As far as I see, queen d6 looks like an interesting option. Or am I missing something? Queen d6, knight d6, rook e1, rook e1. Yeah, this still looks normal. Queen d6, queen d6. But on queen d6, maybe Eric has a rook ac8. Queen d6, rook ac8. Okay, we'll see. It's Carlson's turn. Probably he knows why is he taking so much time. Let me just briefly... I don't understand. Why did he play knight c6? Maybe he's thinking about some... Well, I still have problems to imagine what would he like to do. I see queen d6 possibility for white. I see queen f3 possible. Yes, queen d6. I kept talking about this move, but I see rook ac8. I also, I thought that the queen d6, knight d6 would be killer by white. But now I see rook ac8 and the knight on c6 is hanging. Eric took. This is interesting. Okay. Probably rook takes c1, rook takes c1. I don't see anything better. And maybe... But now I like this white's knights. I'm just wondering why didn't he play rook ac8? That's a question. That's a question, and actually we'll talk about that with Eric. Probably on rook ac8, a takes b5, but a takes b5, I'm not sure. We'll talk about this afterwards. This is interesting game. These knights looks like dominating pieces. Bishop f8. This is okay move. Control z7 square. And also forces one of these knights to move away because these are very, very disturbing knights in this game. Okay, knight d7. Now he's got king g7, or bishop e7 would give him control of the dark squares with a great dark square bishop. So maybe, okay, so king g7. Once again, for all of you who just joined, we're right now in the match between Montreal chessbrah and Norway gnomes. First board for Montreal chessbrah, Fabiano Caruana, second player in the world. First board of Norway gnomes, current world champion and one of the best chess players of all times, Magnus Carlson. We just had a great chance to see that Amon Hambleton in previous round drew against Carlson, and that was a real thing. By the way, next round, at the moment, Norway gnomes they lead 4.5 to 3.5 after 2 rounds, but we'll see. Okay, Carlson is slightly better against Eric. These knights are very, very strong pieces in this game, but okay. We'll see what's gonna happen. By the way, we already got a hero of this match. It's Hambleton who drew Carlson, and he even was better at some point in that game. But okay, you shouldn't be ungrateful. Draw against Magnus. I believe you should be more than happy, master. Okay, so rook to b3. we'll go back to this game. Let's take a look at Caruana's game, because this is one of the most one of the strongest games in this match, in the whole match. The white player is almost 2700 FIDE rated player, and Caruana, we all know what his rating is. 2817 according to 2827 according to the last list, if I'm correct. Okay, so we just stopped here. Bishop a4, because he was threatening bishop e6, queen d6, bishop c6, rook f1, pretty much expected, doubling the rooks on the f file and eyeing the pawns on e6 and f7, bishop d5, opposing this bishop, and this was already very, very equal position. Okay, so after b5, rook c2, rook a6, h5. Now Caruana, at the very beginning of this, as soon as we started commentating on this game, I told you that this is going to be very hard win for black. Actually, he won't be able to play this position for a win, or even if he tries to do that, he will have a lot of troubles. But okay, Caruana is trying to squeeze out his opponent. He defended his weakness properly. He now just wants to take on f5. Caruana is trying to make some break in this position and to win this. This is nice. This is nice. Let's take a look at Elias. Elias, we just have to apologize for not being able to check your game previously, but Elias, we stopped at this moment. This was Grunfeld defense. f5, trying to break these pawns, installing the knight on the best and the most powerful d6 square, and Elias played d6. Nice move. Cannot take because of bishop e7. Okay, now he took and created potentially either strong or weak pawn. I'd say rather weak than strong, but we'll see. So far he's doing good. Aman playing white. Oh, I like his position. This was Benoni. Aman went for this h3 and knight f3, bishop d3 line. Like I said previously, that line was considered to be the best weapon against Benoni at some point. So after like bishop f4, h5, g5, king g2, Aman, once again, for all of you who just joined, because there are a couple of guys who kept saying hello and what's up, I just want to remind you, Hambleton drew against Magnus Carlsen in the previous round, and we just got a new hero of Montreal chessbrah theme. Queen d7, rook h1. Aman now brought his rook on the 7th rank and came up with nice tactics. That was too hot. Knight takes b5, and if queen takes b5, Aman would just play bishop a4, would first take on b7, and then he would take pawn on e8. The score after 2 rounds is 4.5 to 3.5. So rook a7, knight a7, and queen b7. I believe Aman should take that bishop and play with the bishop pair, and slowly to squeeze out his opponent with the bishop pair. Looks like b2 pawn can hardly be defended, but okay, we'll see. Let's get back to Magnus Carlsen against Erik Hansen. Just like I told you, if few weeks ago we would mention Hambleton against Carlsen or Erik against Carlsen, that would sound a little bit funny, but right now they have a chance of their life, and Aman already took advantage of it. He drew against Carlsen. Now it's Erik's turn. He's playing pretty equal position against Carl. Okay, he's slightly worse, but actually I don't even see. Okay, Erik is running out of time. He's down 6 minutes, but we all know that he played like trillions of games and on all chess sites of bullet games, so he can actually play the whole game within a minute. Don't forget, the time control is 15 minutes plus 2 seconds. This is unique chance for all of you guys who just joined to see 2 best players in the world. Fabiano Caruana first board of the chessbrah theme, and Magnus Carlsen leading the Norway gnomes. Yeah, king f8, I didn't quite like that move, but okay. Well, will Eric repeat king f8 to see what is Carlsen going to do there? I mean, he's got no reason to force her to do anything. Most likely Carlsen will play something else in that position. So after, but I don't, yeah, let's go. It's Eric's turn. Will Eric play king f8 here? So he has to keep the rook on board, because keeping the rook on board, he's gonna be able to attack weaknesses on c4 and a5. So king f8. I don't even know why does it take too much time for Eric to play this move. Is he looking for something else in this position? I don't see. Rook a3. Wow. Let's just put it this way. Eric doesn't want to make a draw, because if he played king f8, that position already repeated twice. Wow, Eric is forcing his game against Magnus Carlsen. This is awesome night. I mean, all our members are just trying to beat Magnus Carlsen. Okay. So rook to a3. Rook to a3. Eric is... That's why I told you. Eric is not supposed to trade off these rooks. He's supposed to keep the rook and to go against the pawn on a5 and the pawn on c4. Okay. Rook a3. If bishop d2, rook a4, and then c4, or rook a2 first, maybe? This is interesting. This is interesting because, for example, Eric, I'd play bishop d2 if I was white, but let's see what is Carlsen going to decide. Knight d6. He wants to go against the f7 pawn. Okay. Looks like he evaluated that the f7 pawn will be almost impossible to... By the way, I just have to give you an update. Fabiano Caruana made a draw. So out of 3 games, Caruana is 2 out of 3. So Caruana is 2 out of 3, which means 2 draws for Caruana, and against Ariane Tare and against John Ludwig Hammer. And now we just have to see how is Eric going to perform against Magnus Carlsen. It's definitely a bit better for white. I don't know why didn't Eric play king f8? Why did he opt for rook to a3 in that position? Probably he saw something, but we'll talk about that more later. I'm also a little bit suspicious about his decision to make a move queen takes d6. Maybe he could have gone with a rook ac8 unless I blundered something. Maybe I just think about some knight e7 move. But later. So this is very important round because simply Caruana drew. Okay, we can just say he was black against Hammer, which can be considered a solid result. On the other hand, we all hope that Aman will be able to win, especially after making draw against Carlsen. And Elias is playing against Ariane Tare, but okay, we'll now follow this game. What if bishop g5? Then Eric prepared knight e4 trick. Then Eric, well, no, knight e4, I guess it doesn't work. Bishop g5. I don't get it. What if bishop g5, knight e4, rook takes d7? Okay, so Carlsen played rook e7. I guess he now wants to play against both of these pawns, pawn on g5 and c5, since these are potential weaknesses. Okay. This is such an interesting endgame. Okay, objectively speaking, bishop on e3 is a great piece. It pretty much controls and stops activity by the rook on e2. Also, these connected, let's just say flexible knights on f6 and d7, they're doing good as defenders around the king. But definitely Carlson managed to create two weaknesses, and that's what we usually talk about in the endgames. Principle of two weaknesses, like pawn on h5 and pawn on c5. Yeah, and now he even goes for checkmate. Wants to play rook g7, knight f7 mate. So he's now threatening rook f7, rook g7 followed by knight f7. Not immediately mate, actually. Then king f8, but if king f8, then you took... Yes. And Carlson won that game. Unfortunately, at some point it didn't look like this. We'll get back to other games. So Eric lost. So let's take a look at the game that is ongoing. Aman playing white against their fourth board, whose name is Daniel. I apologize for forgetting his second name. Okay, no two surprises in the same day. Hamilton drew Carlson. Eric tried his best. He was very close in that game. It was slightly better position for Carlson. At some point it was even roughly equal, but simply he couldn't hold him at some point. Okay, so it's Aman's turn. So we're waiting for his move. He's definitely doing slightly better here. Let's take a look at Elias' game. Elias is putting up a good fight. We checked that game at this point, and he played nice move. Knight h4, he's second in exchange like this. Ooh, this was nice. Amazing play by Elias here. Well, as far as I see, he's doing even better in this position. Wow. He's even doing better here, yeah. So after f3, rook takes, f takes, king g2. Wow, Elias is better. This is another great chance to make surprise. So king f7, going for the pawn e7. Don't forget, he cannot take on e7 because any pawn endgame should be winning for Elias. Elias is maybe going to win this game. Wow, I can't believe. I thought it was equal after e4. I didn't see the rook ad1 and that exchange sack. Wow, Elias, that was beyond my understanding, man. So you're way better than me. King h3, followed by king g4, king h5. Wow, this is amazing. He's up 2 pawns. Black looks completely lost. Man, you gotta win this. No chance that you're going to lose this game. So you gotta win this one. So Caruana is 2 out of 3. Eric Hansen is 1.5 out of 3. I keep getting some. Okay. Hamilton at the moment half out of 2 with a draw. With his most astonishing and outstanding result of career against Carlson. And Elias is 0 out of 2, but we all expect him to win this one. Okay, h5, king f4, good. Fabiano Caruana drew his position, and with 1 win and 2 draws, he's 2 out of 3. Don't forget, next round, Caruana against Carlson, match of the day. You all will have a chance to see the best player of all times, in my opinion, against second player in the world at the moment. Okay, so we just have something. Elias won. Congratulations, man. Amazing. Rook 81, exchange sack. Nobody saw that, even this GM. You crush him so badly. We'll have to take a look at this game once again, but You are the hero of this round, just like a month before previous round. Okay, so let's take a look at Aman's game. He always plays very, very tense games. We'll take a look at that game. Let's just for it. Congratulations, Master. Congratulations. I told you, you could be a hero of this day, and you are. Elias just won his game, which makes this 1 out of 3, and this is such an important win for the whole match. This is such an important win for the whole match. Caruana is 2 out of 3. Okay, Caruana is 2 out of 3. Oops, just a second. So we're at the moment we're looking at the game. Elias is 1 out of 3. Caruana 2 out of 3. I believe I just have some problems with these results. Sorry for that. Okay. Oh my god, I really have problems with his results, so I apologize for that. Okay. Wow. Wow, okay, this is... Will Aman be able to win this? Yes, this is completely winning. This is completely winning. Oh, wait a sec. His opponent can play... Knight c4 maybe now. Why not knight c4? Aman is up a pawn. This is quite difficult, and once again, congratulations for I believe it's okay. He should be winning this one, and I'm pretty sure he will win this one. For example, ideally would be to exchange bishop for the knight. Then the knight on the same side being up a pawn against bishop should be easily winning for him. So so far, Caruana drew, Eric Hansen lost to Magnus Carlsen, and Elias won. If Hambleton manages to win, we're gonna have even result before the last round. And in the last round, we have a clash of real fighters. Magnus Carlsen will face Fabiano Caruana. And that's what I told you at the beginning of the stream. That game could decide the winner of the whole match. So will be very interesting to see that one. Okay. Don't worry about Aman's time. You guys keep bringing up this thing in during this broadcast. It's not a problem for him. He's very experienced. He's all the time. Oh, this is good. 94 is awful move. Why didn't he take? Why didn't you think, man? Knight against the bishop. Ah, okay, maybe because the pawns were on the dark squares. Maybe that's a good point. Okay, so bishop b2. At the moment, they're leading 6-5. If Aman wins this game, there is going to be 6-6 before the last round. But let's take a look at the game and see what is he gonna do. Even f6 does a good job. Aman is surely gonna win this. He surely... Oh, he took now. He went into this endgame. King f4, okay. Okay, he just declined the draw, just to know that. He's just declined the draw. He should push, probably. It's a good thing that he's got a knight on d3, because the dark square bishop cannot reach the pawn on h4. Since the pawns on the dark squares. Nice, knight f4. breaking these pawns. This looks completely winning now. Completely winning now. Okay, and now g6. Exactly, baby. Exactly. g6. Knight takes. King g5. Getting closer. Or even a6. And this is when Aman is a real master when it comes to time troubles. The only trick by this guy could have been when king h5, bishop h4. But I guess he didn't see that one. Okay, nice. King, oh my god. Oh, what an endgame. What an endgame. I still believe this could be won. He needs his knight on g7. He needs his knight on g7. Oh, king should not go to h8. King shouldn't go to h8. Knight e6. h7, exactly. Knight g5 and knight f7. Aman won the game. Congratulations, master. So he won in the... Wow, he plays such intense games. This is crazy. Hamilton won, and that actually makes this game, makes this match even. 6-6 after 3 rounds. We're about to see one of the most interesting matches so far that we've had in these streams. What a great win by Hamilton. What a great win by Hamilton. Wow. He won that literally with 3 seconds played, like the half of that game. So look what happened in the game. This was the end game. We spoke about this position. He won this. Knight h3. Here he pushed the pawn, gave check, and come up with this checkmate. What a fantastic win and comeback by in endgame that at some point seemingly was theoretically drawn. By the way, hero of this round is still Elias, who beat Grandmaster Aryan Thari in that great Grunfeld game. By the way, we didn't have a chance to see the whole game by Caruana. h4. We actually stopped at this moment, if you remember. And after rook c2, these guys just exchanged everything and went into this theoretically drawn endgame. Aman plays like a complete beast. Reminds me of Li Chao in previous rounds. Okay, so we're about to go into the 4th round, into the deciding round of this match. But you just have to keep in mind, we're about to see the 2 best players currently in the world. Magnus Carlsen, current world champion, playing against Fabiano Caruana. There is one good thing about that match. Caruana will be white, and he's very strong when he's white. So I believe that match can decide the winner of this match. Don't forget, at the moment where I'm commentating the match between Montreal chessbrahs against Norway gnomes. So far, after 3 rounds, result is 3-3. Okay, so let me just get the results. Just a moment. Let me just get the results there. So Caruana 2 out of 3, and Elias is 1 out of 3. Okay. And I still keep getting these problems with the results, so I apologize for that. 6-6. Yeah, this is interesting. Once again, this was an epic endgame, and once again, insane finish by Hamilton. He's becoming a hero of this match. He's becoming the hero of today's match between Montreal chessbrah and Norway gnomes. Nice. Okay. So while we're waiting for this, let me just take a look at the other games. Okay, so so far Caruana 2 out of 3, Hansen on 50%, 1.5 out of 3. Hambleton, he's like 1.5 out of 3, and that's a good thing. Okay. Okay, I keep so. Okay, the games have started, so it's time to start with the final round. So let's get started, guys. Let's get going. Fabiano Caruana against Magnus Carlsen. I guess this is the game of the round. We'll follow this game mostly because definitely first player in the world against the second player in the world. Okay, we'll get back to this game. Let's actually check other games as well. So Fabiano Caruana against Magnus Carlsen, Eric Hansen against Ludwig Hammer. Eric, go and hammer that guy. You just have to redeem yourself for your loss against Carlson. Okay, I'm joking, but Eric is white. He's really good when playing white pieces. He's also good in short time controls. And let's see, is he capable of winning this game and maybe bring Chessbrah another team victory, which would be one of the crucial wins for going into the. So Eric playing white. Actually, Eric playing white, hammer black. That was Rai Lopez most popular Berlin defense. Eric went for this 95 line that is very popular amongst the strongest players lately. And he went for this rookie too. I believe that in YKZ, some top player went for this, but eventually the game ended and it was a draw. So apart from this game, we just have to check the game between Tari and Hambleton. Man went for he went for knight c6 and played the Taiman of defense. Queen d3. That's very popular move. That became very popular move. And the idea behind Queen d3 is to play knight b5. So to go with this knight goes to b5, followed by Queen g3. That's a very nice endgame. So man played a6 and took by queen. Idea is to play b5 and bishop b7 afterwards, and all together with a knight f6 to go against the pawn on e4. I believe that the strongest move for white is Queen g3. So we'll see what is Arjan Tari going to do there. So many strong games Queen g3 is the best move. So many strong games in today's Pro League. You cannot even imagine. There is MWL, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, Wesley So is playing, Hikaru Nakamura. So this is really becoming one of the strongest web competitions, definitely the strongest ever. And finally, this is the underdog match. Elias, you gotta beat this guy, you gotta bring us win, man. So Elias is clearly favorite. He's like 150 points higher rated than this guy. Let's just take a look at the opening and then we'll get back to the game between Caruana and Carlson. Bishop g5, e5, knight e7. Elias takes by queen, goes with this line. Knight b6, interesting. I would have gone for c5 here. He's got his own pet system. He sacked the pawn. Ooh, I like Elias' position, but okay, white also does what he has to do here. He has to play f5 and to go for all in. We'll get back to this game, but after we see how is Caruana doing against Carlson. Caruana playing white. He went for the ready opening and Carlson played b5. But then another shocking move, e3. Usually e3 and g3 are not compatible. Bishop g2, b3 doing the double fianchetto, d4 doing the knight bd2, queen e2 and c4. Carlsen swaps off these knights to open the dark square bishop. C takes b5, normal. Gets the pawn and okay, he takes the pawn, but this is not clearly and easily, let's just say, up a pawn. This reminds me of the Banco Gambit position that Carlsen playing at a moment. So bishop c3 defending the pawn, knight b6 going towards d5, chasing away this bishop, and at the moment it's Fabiano Caruana's move here. This is really interesting here. Knight d5 is coming. Okay. So let's just take a look. Knight b6 with the idea knight d5. Okay, Carlson has two good pieces. He's threatening the pawn and this is what he went for. C takes b6. I didn't even think about d takes c5. Probably now he has to. But wait, if he moves the knight, probably he wants to second exchange here. Actually, I don't know. I'm not sure. Probably he wants to second exchange, because if he plays, for example, rook c1, rook a2, queen c4, then bishop f3, it's a round drawn. Okay, rook a2, queen c4. That was the line we mentioned previously. But if queen c4, bishop b2. Could he second exchange in that position? That was interesting. Could he second exchange? I'm not sure about this one. I'm not sure. So queen d1. He keeps defending the knight on f3. He threatens that bishop. Okay, Carlson will probably play bishop f6 or bishop g7. Yeah. And now it's interesting to see what is white going to do. Somehow he has to get rid of this very annoying queen on a8 and bishop on e4. I was about to suggest knight to e1. Okay. If bishop g2, knight takes g2. And then he'll try to defend the pawn on b6. And actually to support it by the rook on the side. But you know what? I don't like this pawn on b6 and pawn on b3. Even though he's up a pawn, I actually believe that if one pawn falls, another one will fall as well. Okay, so let's just take a look. By the way, thank you for your support. Speaking of technical details and difficulties that I was experiencing with these results, so thank you so much for that. Carlson looks better in my opinion, and Carlson looks better, and right now when the b pawn falls, he can hardly defend this position. But okay, on the other hand, we all know that a knight is better. That a knight is better when the pawns are only on one side of the board. So they're literally not on the one side of the board because there is still pawn on b3. But okay, this looks like a equal position. This looks like equal position. And by the way, if chessbrah is not going to win this match, at least I won in my match against Microsoft Excel this time, because I finally managed to put all the results in a line. So let's take a look. What is happening here? I guess Caruana can still push a little bit with the h4 and h5. He can still, but okay, he at least has to keep an eye on the b3 pawn. So yeah, so you should be very much proud of me. Rook f to b8. Rook b1. Okay, the only move to defend the b3 pawn. Let's take a look at the other games. Eric Hansen is playing his game against his game against John Ludwig Hammer. This is current position knight d5. He offered him a better endgame, and this is where they stopped. Unlike Carlson and Caruana's game, where the things are moving very fast, these guys are taking more time in their games. Aryan Tari, we spoke about this position, queen g3, b5, and exactly happened what I told you. Queen came on g3, knight came on f6, all together with queen on c6 and bishop on b7. This is normal game. This is normal game. Probably rook c8, a rook c8, or maybe, you know what? If I was in a man's place, he just has to defend the g7 pawn. He can play bishop e7 because of queen g7. So this is interesting. By the way, don't forget, we're watching the last round of very intense match between Montreal chessbrahs and Norway gnomes. This one, and what if queen g7? Am I missing something here? This one, queen g7. Wait a sec. Queen g7, rook g8, queen f6. I don't see what. Queen g7, king e7. King e7, that's what he prepared. Okay, my bad. So if queen g7, king e7. So if the queen takes on g7, he's going to play on e7. And then he's going to launch the attack. Yeah. King e7, exactly. And then he'll be able to pressure along the open e file with rook a g8. We have to follow this game. We have to follow this guy. Aman Hambleton, Canadian IM, is certainly hero of this match because he drew Magnus Carlsen with black pieces. Even in a game where he was the one to push and to play for a win. Okay, let's see the game of underdogs in this match. No, this is not theory anymore. It was until a certain point, but it's not. Okay, I guess king e7, bishop g5, bishop e5. I find very risky decision by Aryan Tari to take on g7, unless he's got something very concrete. By the way, don't forget, if bishop g5, black is going to play bishop e5. Yeah, this looks like a poison pawn. Okay, the game of underdogs, Elias playing black against this Norwegian Daniel guy, and Elias is doing fine in this position. That was a moment when we stopped. Rook f1, c5, h4, a long castle, and I still like Elias' position a little bit more. And by the way, if there is an underdog in this match, it must be his opponent, even though he's playing white, because Elias is, in terms of FIDE rating, 150 points higher rated guy than his opponent from Norway. So Elias, we put all our hopes and cheer up for you, man. We need that win. Okay, Aryan Tari. Things are moving fast here. This is getting very, very nice. I like this position. If f4, rook g8, queen h6, at least Hambo has a possibility to play rook g5 if nothing else, and he would be down in exchange but would have a nice compensation. So I see the line. f4, but on f4 he can even play rook g8, queen h6, bishop d4, bishop d4, king h1, and then to play rook g6. And after queen h4, it's his turn. he can even play rook g8 because e5 doesn't work because of bishop e5. Yes, crazy. Crazy. I came up with so many arrows here. Sorry for that. So let me just cut this off. So I see as absolutely the best move for white f4. Let's take a look at Eric Hansen's game and to go and to follow the games of the best guys. Oh, Eric has his favorite type of position. By the way, this is very intense match because we're in the last round. We have 4 closest players at the moment. Caruana is playing Carlson. Eric is playing this guy, Hammer. Eric is white. Hambleton is playing Ariantari. And Elias is playing against their 4th board. This is good because if there is a chance for a chessbrah theme, this is chance. Don't forget, it's 6-6 before the last round. Eric is going to try to squeeze out his opponent. He's slightly better. He's got a bishop pair, and this is nice. By the way, don't forget, here we just have to say that Hamilton's position is completely unclear, but I like his position, even though it looks unclear. I like it because his pieces look so active, and he's got an open G file. Speaking of the Elias, he seems to be slightly better. He's breaking the center, and at some point he can have some C3 ideas. And finally, let's get back to the game of let's just say monsters, because these are real guys. Caruana playing against Carlson. Caruana is worse, slightly worse, but I believe he'll be able to, in this position, I believe he'll be able to hold this endgame. If there's a guy in this world who can squeeze this out and try to win something, because white has so many problems with the pawn structure, then it's Carlson. Let's see, but I believe this should be holdable position, although these pawns really, really look weak. Do they know that there is a draw button? Somebody asked here. I don't think that on highest level these guys would agree that this is draw. It should be slightly better for Magnus. And if there is a side who can push this and try to win, then it's black. And if there's a guy who would push this and win, then it should be Magnus Carlsen. So let's go. Let's take a look at the game. Queen h1, threatening queen g... No, actually, do you know what is he going to do? He's going to try king e7, king d5, king d6, king d5. But no, he's not going to be able to do this because of this check. Maybe h5 move. But no, if... h5 with the idea queen g1, queen g4 winning a pawn. So that could be very interesting on h5 exactly. So h5 threatening queen g1 followed by queen g4. He has to do something. Okay, white has so many problems with the very weak pawn structure. And now Caruana has to find something very active. Somebody suggested queen f3 that would lose on the spot. No pawn endgames when your pawns are broken. Okay. Okay, and Carlsen is getting closer to what he's looking for. Maybe queen d2, but then queen d7. So not that one. Wow. Wow, he won a pawn. Wow, he won a pawn. He managed to win a pawn. That's what I told you. Somebody asked, do these guys know if there is a drawn button? Don't talk like this. I mean, these are the top 2 players in the world, and if they see a slightest possibility to squeeze out the game, they're going to try to do it and to win the game. Okay, we all hope that our first board will be able to hold this position. Don't forget, this is the game of the whole match. Caruana, leading player of the chessbrah, facing Magnus Carlsen, leading player of the Norway gnomes. There is one good thing. He doesn't have any more weaknesses to defend, so basically he has to go all in. Okay. This is typical Magnus type of position. He's trying to squeeze out his opponent out of seemingly drawn position, or let's just say very, very close to be drawish. And this is exactly type of position when Carlson is such a great master. He has been struggling a little bit with his chess lately. I mean, in comparison with his results from last 2 years, he's not in the best shape of his life, but okay. I mean, he's still the top world player. Although the best shape in the world actually belongs to Wesley So. That's my personal opinion, but that guy, he's played like more than 52 games without a single loss. I believe I can just compare him to Djokovic in tennis at some point. Okay, so F3. Caruana is looking for, okay. Okay, so somebody told me to check the game by Hambleton. We will, but I'm still looking at this one. Caruana will certainly find a perpetual check if there's one. And now if King D6, I believe now he's way closer to draw than he previously was. Oh, firework in Hambleton game. Let me take a look at that game. We'll get back to this one. This now looks like a draw. So after King E7, Bishop G5, Rook G8, oh, Knight D5, Queen D5, he takes, Rook G7, Rook takes E5. Okay, he wasn't a queen down, so you were just trying to be funny, and you just tricked me. This is slightly better for white. This is slightly better for white because of the bishop pair. Let me take a look at Eric Hansen's game. Eric Hansen is slightly better also. I like his position more and more. So every time I look at Eric's position, his position looks better and better. He's squeezing out his opponent. Eric is strong with white. He's strong with the bishop pair. He had the best coach, so we all know what is he going to win. What is he going to do here? Okay. Okay, so we'll go back to Elias' game. This is such an important game for this match. Elias is winning. Good job, master. Go, go, go. We need that win. We need that win, man. He's up a piece. Okay, white has like 2 pawns, but he's got such a strong attack on the c2 pawn. So we're so close to see such an important win for the Montreal chessbrahs tonight. Okay, Elias. Somebody called him doctor, but he's actually professor. He's professor. This guy knows his stuff. Okay, so Rook C8, Queen C6, Rook H2. All these pieces go against the C2 pawn. We'll get back to this game. Let's take a look at seemingly the most boring game at the moment. Caruana against Carlson. I believe he's got a good chance. Okay, this is... Now he's got a good chances to make draw here. Oh la la. Yes, Carlson just blundered the pawn. Oh my god. What is happening with Magnus? I told you that at some point that he's been struggling a bit with his shape, and actually the last couple of months. Not in the best shape of his life, and now he's down a pawn. Caruana is turning. Carlsen offered a draw, and this is going to be a draw. Okay, okay, good, good, amazing, amazing defense by Fabiano Caruana, which is very important for the whole match. Now we'll go back to the game between Elias. Oh, Elias looks better and better every single move. His position is just looking better. He's gonna put the queen on d2 and the mate is coming. Exactly. So next move will be queen d2 and we all wait for white to resign here. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I told you in the beginning of this match, that guy could be a hero of our team and that could be hero tonight. So no more calling him doctor, he's professor. Queen d2 professor and that's it. Am I missing something? Queen d2, it's checkmate. Exactly. So we're gonna win this one. Queen d2 threatening two mates. Queen b2 and queen a2. Exactly. So we're about to see Norway guy on the fourth board is going to resign. I believe after that we'll have like 1.5 to half. Eric Hansen is playing slightly better position and Aman is playing slightly worse position. But we'll get back to these games. Let's just take a look at this one. So okay. And exactly, Elias won the game. So this is great. This is great. Elias won, so Elias is on 50%, 2 out of 4. Amazing result for this guy and win in such an important moment. Don't forget, before that, Fabiano Caruana drew against Magnus Carlsen. And now we just need to make 1 point out of 2 games. So Elias, congratulations, great win. Aryan Tari against Aman Hambleton. Hambleton is down on time. His position looks worse. These are weak pawns. All these pawns are weak. So he can hardly defend all these pieces at the same. I mean, this looks better, easily better for white. Easily better for white. So let's hope that Aman Hambleton can use his magic power and to do something here. So let's go. Let's bring some magic chessbrah power to this guy so he can hold a game. Well, once again, I just have to say, Elias is hero of today's match altogether, with probably the biggest hero of the match, Aman Hambleton, making draw against Magnus Carlsen. Congratulations, champ. Okay, now Hambleton is facing serious problems. I believe this is completely lost. Oh, no, he's finding rook b6. So white has to take on a4. Rook takes d5, rook b6. That would be drawn. So rook a4, rook b6, b3. Now b3. Would be very interesting to see what's gonna happen. c4. Okay, this looks a bit better than it looked a few minutes before, because he had like 3 or 4 weaknesses in one point. Now he's got only weak pawn on a6. He's down a pawn, but he's got active rook. Okay. Okay, it's normal. King f6, king f4. As far as I see, king f4 is the only move we can see there. And if king f4, maybe even h5. This is lost. Unfortunately, this is lost endgame. g4 now, and on h5, h3. At least take advantage of it, at least exchanging one weakness. Go rook h6 and activate yourself, but this should be, this is pretty lost. Okay. It's very interesting that among literally every single game plays being down like 5, 3, 7 seconds until the end of the game. That's very interesting about him. Oh, nice trick, rook b6. Yeah, actually this was pretty much expected. Now takes on a6, plays rook a7, takes on f7, and this is winning. Exactly. Okay, let's go to Eric's game, but this game is gonna finish very soon. Let's see if Eric has chances to win his game, because if Eric makes draw, this is going to be an even match, 8-8. And if Eric wins, chessbrah will win this match. At least Elias brought us at least equal match here. Okay, so this is going to be win. We just have to check the game by Eric Hansen. I'll show you the game. We already checked this position. This is where we said that white looks better. Eric is slowly squeezing out his opponent. Somebody mentioned draw, but I believe that Eric is clearly better in this position. Clearly better. He's got a pawn majority on the queen side. This guy has an isolated pawn, so this is typical principle of two weaknesses. Eric can push this game pretty safely. Exactly. So this looks good. Once again, I just have to update you. Caruana drew, made 2.5 out of 4, 3 draws and 1 win. Elias won in such a nice game, making 50% out of 4 games, 2 out of 4. And now we're just looking at the games by Eric Hansen and John Ludwig Hammer and Aryan Tari and Aman Hamilton. We're waiting for this guy to finish, and after this we'll finish this epic night, especially epic for Hamilton because Hamilton drew against Carlson. F5, I like this move. Eric is going to win. This is exactly what Eric likes in his chess. Safety and to slowly push down and try to win the game. Good job, master. Let's go. Let's go, champ. You gotta win. If Eric wins, chessbrah will... Oh, this is getting way and way better. Now he's even having a passed pawn, while this bishop e2, exactly, to stop the rook c4. h5. Let's go. And all he has to do here is to find somehow way to activate his pieces. He can even play b5. I absolutely have no doubts that Eric will win this because his technique is great. He's great, I believe, way better than this guy when it comes to, like short time controls. And his position is way better. So let's go, Eric. We need this win, man. Rook h8. He has to go back now in order not to lose this one. Oh, Eric played g4. Ah, what a trick, man! What a fantastic trick. g4. What if... Oh, what a fantastic trick. The idea was bishop g6 followed by bishop f5. Fantastic. Eric on roll. Bishop g6, king d6, rook e7, the mate is coming. Bishop g6, let's go. But why that? Maybe it was better bishop g6 when the bishop was on d7. King e6. Okay, this should be matter of technique. Okay, he now wants to go bishop e6, rook g8, checkmate. Bishop e6. Why not bishop e6 threatening rook g8? Bishop c8, okay. c4 followed by rook d3 to cut off the king. Good. Perfect. He's not going to blunder discovered check by bishop e4. King b8 going from the back. You like? Okay. Trying to play c4 and b5. Okay, we all see that. he should play that. Maybe this can even be an endgame where he's going to end up playing rook and the bishop against the bishop. But practically it's very difficult to hold in a blitz game with such a small amount of time for black. Okay. Oh, he found a nice way to win this. Good. He's going to win this. So chessbrah will win tonight's match. Eric Hansen is about to win. And the main chessbrah, Eric Hansen, won, and he actually won the match against Great Team Norway Gnomes, led by world champion Magnus Carlsen. That was an amazing win, amazing result. Congratulations to all. Caruana making 2.5 out of 4. Eric Hansen bringing this very intense game and actually a critical game of the match. And of course, Amon Hamilton making draw against world champion Magnus Carlsen. Eventually, we just have to say that the whole chessbrah team was doing amazing. Congratulations. Eric Hansen won in a very, very nice. I told you, he likes to play with a bishop pair. He likes such positions without much risk to play and to safely push up his opponents. That was amazing. Okay, so that was really good. chessbrah team won even this match. Guys, who are going to stop us if we're beating the team where world champion is playing with 3 GMs in comparison with 2 GMs? Who's gonna beat up Montreal chessbrahs? Nobody. That's a good point. You were witnesses of one of the most intense matches so far. Magnus Carlsen was on the opposite side and it didn't help. Carlsen made 2 draws and 2 wins. Caruana made 1 win and 3 draws. But Eric Hansen won when it was the most important. We still have to mention that Elias made 2 out of 4. 1 in the last round, which was such an important moment and such an important game. And eventually Hembo, who's certainly one of the heroes of this match, he drew against current world champion Magnus Carlsen. Okay, that was nice. I hope you like this stream. I hope you like what happened there. And this was really good. By the way, somebody said, "Hey, Butcher, I like your commentary, but you're not as pretty as Anna." Well, luckily I'm not. I mean, I shouldn't be as pretty as... It's the case with her, actually. Otherwise, we would talk about something different. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. chessbrah team won in such a great match against people who actually had world champion on the first board. Can you imagine that? Carlson was on the first board. They also had a player whose rating is almost 2,700, John Ludwig Hammer, his compatriot, but it didn't help. Arjan Thari played on the third board. At one point, youngest GM in the history, one of the most talented Norway guys, and it still didn't help. Okay, that's a real energy in the chessbrah channel. More than almost 700 people. That's nice. I hope you like this commentary. Once again, congratulations to the whole chessbrah team, and guys, this is a real thing. This is a real thing. So we'll see in the next round who are going to be our opponents. But if we beat team with Magnus Carlsen, then anything can happen. Congratulations to Caruana, who was the leader of this team, and who actually saved a slightly worse endgame against Carlson in the last round, but that was really close. Okay, so that would be all for today. I hope you'll be able to see all these games thoroughly and very closely analyzed by I'm on Hamilton during the week. Don't forget, we'll see each other on Wednesday, 1 a.m. CET, Central European Time, and I hope you're going to like these things. By the way, just a moment, maybe I can bring either